Hello, everyone. This is Jim Biringer at NHLRumors.com. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below. Happy 2025-26 NHL season. Boy, it started off with a bang on Monday before the season even started. Connor McDavid back in Edmonton, 2 more seasons. As we've been documenting, writing about, reporting now, since the end of last season, since the Edmonton Oilers lost to the Florida Panthers for the 2nd straight year in the Stanley Cup final, live from Florida, opening night for the Florida Panthers. And look, Connor McDavid, he's coming back. It's 2 more seasons, but the clock is ticking. Over the summer on TSN 690 with Simon Salikis, Mitch Gallo, I was asked about McDavid's contract, was asked about Kaprizov's contract. You know, going out there on a limb and saying, hey, it could be a 2-year deal, it could be a 3-year deal. Most people figure 4 or 5-year deal, but he ends up signing a 2-year deal, $12.5 million AAV, the current AAV is on. And I think that's the shocking part. I don't think the shocking part's 2 years. I think it's the AAV basically saying winning over anything, right? Over money. He's made his money. He's going to get endorsements. He's going to make the difference up. But the issue is he went Sidney Crosby, kind of went Nathan McKinnon, saying, hey, I want to win. This is where I want to be. The job's not finished here. And he wants to complete the job in Edmonton because he owes it to the Oilers, to the organization, to the fans. He is on a mission to do it. I think people need to realize that. If you listen to what he was actually saying, it wasn't about the money. It's never been about the money. It was about giving the Oilers management, Stan Bowman, Jeff Jackson, the flexibility to go put a roster out there that can compete. Now, can they compete this year? They can. They're not as good as the Game 7 loss in 2024. They're not as good as last year. The depth is gone. Evander Kane's gone. You know, you look at guys down the middle. Corey Perry's gone. Dylan Holloway, Philip Broberg, and the list goes on. Victor Arvidsson is in Boston. So the pieces they have there, they're gone. And yeah, Jake Walman signs a 7-year times $7 million extension in Edmonton. That doesn't hurt now because the cap's going to go up and it's going to continue to go up. However, you have to say to yourself, okay, Stan Bowman, what are we doing? Jeff Jackson, what are we doing? Again, I point to July 1st, 2024. They lost a couple days prior to free agency, prior to the draft. They didn't have a GM in place. Kenny Holland leaves. Jeff Jackson's doing everything on July 1st. Stan Bowman comes in after that. The offer sheets happened. Kind of everything went downhill after that for the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid's like, okay, guys, this is on you now. I did my part. I took less money to stay. I took less money than Leon. I could take less money than what was owed to me, and the NHLPA is probably not happy about it because, you know, hey, best players in the world should get paid the most, right? You know, we see that with Kirill Kaprizov, $17 million AAV. The issue now is the market. What happens? You know, there's kind of mixed reactions going on. You know, Dennis Bernstein of the Fourth Period told me that, hey, it may not affect the market too much. Guys like Eichel still going to get paid. Adrian Kempe still going to get paid. Same with Kyle Connor. But the flip side is teams can go and say, hey, the best player in the world just took less money to stay and wants to win. What do you want to do? Do you want the money or you want to win? Because all these players say they want to win, but do they really want to win if they're trying to get the most out of it? Look, we understand both sides. This is a business. With the cap going up, players should be getting more money. Connor McDavid just said, hey, I got kicked in the pants a couple times. I was this close to winning a Stanley Cup. I want to win a Stanley Cup. That's the most important thing to me. And he proved it. And it's going to be funny, though, because, look, the extension kicks in next July 1st. The following July 1st, he's eligible for an extension again. So we're back to square one. It will be interesting to see what the Oilers do. Dave Pagnotta is reporting that breadcrumbs are out there. Things are in place for the Oilers, potentially at the deadline next offseason to do things. But, again, Dennis Bernstein, TSN Radio in Montreal, I wrote it for RG Media as well. With a rising cap, does that necessarily mean there's going to be a ton of movement? There may be trades, which that could affect the trade market and the trade deadline. But free agency, teams may want to keep their own guys now because they know what they have in them instead of the risk of the unknown, i.e. we see with Pittsburgh, Ryan Graves still got 4 years left at $4.5 million, just went to the minors, put on waivers. It's unfortunate, but those types of contracts and a flat cap is going to hurt a team. And even now, especially a team like Pittsburgh who's trying to rebuild. But back to the Oilers, look, Connor McDavid did what was best for him. He's the one that came up with the price. He's the one that went to the Oilers. The Oilers never went to him with money. They could have given him whatever he wanted. He could have got 20% of the cap, but he knew if he did that, he couldn't win. They couldn't field the team, and that's what he wants most. That's the mentality, Michael Jordan mentality. Didn't get out of shape, wants to win, understands it eats at him that he was that close to winning. He understands what it means to win on the international stage. He scored the game winner for Team Canada at Four Nations. Now, it's not the Olympics, but it's a big deal. He wants to win, and good players like Connor McDavid will step up now. He's played well in the playoffs, don't get me wrong. But I'm saying those types of players, Connor McDavid, like Michael Jordan, when the games matter, when the situations get tough, he's going to go to a new gear now. And that's scary for the rest of the league. So McDavid stays before the opening season. Now we got Alexander Barkov coming off crutches again. People have told me, hey, that's the normal thing. Feels like this guy's going to go Adrian Peterson. If you don't know what that means, Adrian Peterson towards the ACL, MCL, similar injury with the Minnesota Vikings many years ago. They said, oh, it's going to take like 12 months to come back. You're not going to be fully. Guy came back and he was fine. And he was putting up 2,000 yards again. So anything is possible. And I think that's why the Florida Panthers are a team to watch, because what do they do with their cap situation? Does Barkov go on season-ending LTIR, or does he go on regular LTIR with the hope that he comes back? Remember, if he comes back, it's only $3.8 million over the cap. Same with the Matthew Tkachuk injury. He could be out December, January. So it'll be interesting to see what the Florida Panthers do there. They're going to rely on Evan Rodriguez. He's no longer on trade targets. We're going to rely on Anton Lundell as well. Florida, interesting team. Now, the bigger picture in regards to McDavid, you have Jack Eichel in Vegas. He's reportedly going to get $13.5 million, $14 million. They want to keep him. He wants to stay. Gary Lawless said it on TFP Hot Stove on Saturday on SiriusXM. They want to make a deal happen. It's just getting to the right price point. They know Jack's going to get the money. So he's going to stay in Vegas. He's going to stay at home. Kempe and Kyle Connor are interesting because Adrian Kempe's price point before Kaprizov signed would have been like 10, 10 and a half. It could be 11 now. And he's the best player on the Kings. So he's definitely going to get a higher price point for LA. What about a guy like Kyle Connor? Well, if Adrian Kempe is getting 11, why can't Kyle Connor get 11? And remember, Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck took identical 8-year deals, $8.5 million to stay in Winnipeg to win. Let's see if Scheifele says, or Kyle Connor says, hey, you know what, Scheifele, yeah, you took that. Maybe it's going to be a Boston thing where Pasternak wants his money, McAvoy wants his money, Swayman wants his money. Like the old Patriot Boston way of taking less to win, maybe out the door for certain guys. So we'll see what happens in Winnipeg. But the bigger picture is Lane Hutson in all of this, because if you look at Lane Hutson, the market has been reset. Now, Kent Hughes, the general manager, has come out and said, hey, it's not worried. I don't talk about extensions through the media. We always do things quiet. It's not a problem. Similar to what Jim Nill's saying about Jason Robertson in Dallas. He's still controllable. We still can control him. The difference is Jason Robertson can get an offer sheet, unlike Lane Hutson. Lane Hutson is the same RFA as Luke Hughes, was a 10.2C RFA. So he's really controllable for many years. And Ken Hughes kind of said, hey, he's controllable for the next 7 years, which means they probably have a deal in place or they're working on a deal in place. So they know what they have in Lane Hutson. The issue is with Jackson Lacombe getting 9, with Luke Hughes getting 9. And I'll say this again. I think Luke Hughes this year was this year's version of Jeremy Swayman, who held out to reset the market for his peers. And I think that's what he did. So if Luke Hughes is getting 9 and Jackson Lacomb's getting 9, what's Lane Hutson getting? Said it again over the summer on TSN 690. Shout out to them again. Written it on NHLRumors.com as well. He can get over 10 million. Montreal wants, look, there's a reason why Noah Dobson got 9.5 million. Look, Montreal was the place he wanted to go, so Montreal had leverage. But you're not paying 2 defensemen $10 million. Dobson could have got that. Hudson's definitely going to get that. And if Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon get him under 10 million, good work for them. Does it come in at 9.8? Does it come at 9.75? The issue is Lane Hutson's going to say, hey, those 2 guys got 9. I need to get more than that. Apparently, he turned down the same offer back in September, according to Emily Kaplan of ESPN, of Noah Dobson, 8 times 9.5 million. Not surprised, because he probably wants over 10. Calder Trophy, setting records, and all these young guys playing less than 100 games are getting their money. So does Lane Hutson get it? And they're only buying up RFA years. They're not buying UFA years up either. So this is where all the negotiations come in, price points. Again, deferred money is out the door now, so you can't do that. But you still could get that signing bonuses and the 8 years and all of that. The issue becomes Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes. What do they set the market at? Does he wait to see what those guys do? Could he take a short-term deal? I don't think he wants to do that. He could. I think the team wants long-term. But again, it's a give and take. And when the Dobson deal went down, I think the belief was, hey, I think Hudson's getting 10. They have a salary structure they want to work with. They've always talked about it. That's why Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon work so well in the Montreal Canadiens. The issue is Hutson doesn't have to do anything right now. Could slow play it. There's no rush on it. They'd like to get it done. They like to get it done before puck drop on Wednesday. May or may not happen. It could. However, Hutson is definitely a player that could reset the defense market for young guys because of the talent that he is, generational talent. He's in that Quinn Hughes category of where he could control the puck and do everything and back off opposing defenses, as Dave Reed said on NHL Network last year. So that's a situation to watch. But the big news, Connor McDavid staying in Edmonton, but the clock, again, is going to continue to tick because that's all anybody's going to talk about. Yeah, he's staying. Yeah, he wants to win, but when's he leaving? Jim Biringer, NHLRumors.com. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below. We'll be back again real soon, and enjoy the new season.